So, guys, last week we were talking about the fact of by the way, if you've not listened to last week's program, please go back and listen to last week's program before you listen to this program, because we're going to continue with the. I think we stopped out last week at the ILHAF program.
Yes.
And so we're just going to get into again Devon Bank. Thanks for hosting us. We're here at Devon Bank, and so we is one of our partners. And then there's the Journey Forward, Anne Marie and Karen. And so if you listen to the program, you know who we are. So again, this is the Middle Social Talk podcast. Thanks again. And so we'll jump right into it because there's so much great information that I didn't know. And
Right.
Gabby was like, oh, I'm not sure of that. And
I just learned something.
Just learned something, right?
Yeah.
And Karen is bringing us all this information. So you had a question that we want to kind of keep moving.
Right.
So go ahead with your question.
So it was somewhat of that, the last question I had, and it was a scenario. So if somebody that, maybe purchased 2 years ago and they had a payment of $1,700, including principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and now they have a payment of $2,200, which increased by $400 each month. Can they take advantage of this program, even if they currently have a mortgage that
And they're current, but
escrow?
I think what happened, she was saying you have to be current though.
No, you have to be 30 days behind.
Yeah.
You have to be at
Which will
least
affect it,
30 days behind. So what we're talking about is the Illinois Homeowner Assistance Fund grant, which is a wonderful grant through the Illinois Housing Development Authority, IDA. And it's for up to $60,000 of assistance through grant money, which means you don't pay it back, for anybody who had a COVID-related financial setback and fell behind in their mortgage, their property taxes, and their homeowner's insurance. Now, one of the main, we're the Journey Forward, and we are one of many HUD-certified housing counseling agencies that are a lucky partner to IDA to help people access this grant. And one of the main ways that your housing counselor is going to determine and help assess you for suitability for this grant is, number one, do you meet all the criteria? There is an income cap. It's very, very generous. Also, you have to have had a COVID-related financial setback, which, in my opinion, I don't know anybody who has not.
Right.
So if you're thinking, I don't know if I have a COVID-related, believe me, you do. Call us, talk to your housing counselor.
I like that.
Right?
You do.
I don't know any one of us who hasn't been
Right.
devastated and affected in some way by COVID. So that is certainly something that we'll talk to you about, that conversation. And one of the other ways that you are assessed for suitability is your ability to pay your future financial obligations. So if you were someone who fell behind in your mortgage and your property taxes and homeowner's insurance are escrowed, they're all part of your mortgage payment, and we do the financial assessment, we have to determine, do you have the financial wherewithal? Have you recovered from that COVID-related financial setback that if IDA is able to get you caught up and get you current on your mortgage, your property tax, your homeowner's insurance, you are good going forward. That is an important factor to being suitable for this grant. And that's something that your housing counselor will help you assess. Because one of the things is, if you are someone who just, even going forward, even if you got caught up, but your financial situation has changed so drastically that you are not going to be able to pay your mortgage, that even if, IDA did everything they could, that, it's kind of a foregone conclusion that either A, you lost your job and it's been 1.5 years and you have no job prospects down the road, then we start to talk about other loss mitigation options that really do everything that we can to help preserve your equity, your investment in that home. And for some people, it's selling the property. Because as much as this grant is such a godsend, and the folks at IDA have been tremendously helpful and involved and really advocate to help people as much as they can, if you do not have the financial wherewithal, the financial security to pay your financial obligations going forward, really as housing counselors, we're going to shift the conversation to, okay, let's look at other opportunities for you to preserve your equity, preserve your investment, and see what your other options are. Because maybe not everybody is a good fit for this grant. We do everything we can to help people understand how to meet the requirements of this grant. We have partners that do employment assistance. We get them connected to them. We are partners to Employment and Employer Services. They do job training and placement. So obviously these are all things that we take into consideration, as well as get people connected to other resources, whether it's LIHEAP, Low Income Energy Assistance Program, food pantries, SNAP, Medicaid. We do everything we can to help people get connected to other resources so that they can fill those financial gaps and shift that money to the mortgage. So, you know, it's always complicated when it comes to falling behind in a mortgage, and everybody here knows that.
I mean, that was a mouthful.
It was. I'm gonna take a drink of
I
water.
was just thinking, I'm like,
I mean,
wow,
that was like
that's a
a-
one-stop
That's
shop
a
right there.
one-stop shop of everything. I mean, you go to Journey Forward, it's like, you know, you don't have to go to place else, right?
Well, we
So-
try. We try to
And
connect.
this is how I see it. This is how I see Anne Marie. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I don't do it here. But I'm gonna try to find you somebody that can do
For
it.
sure.
You know, or I'm gonna connect you with somebody that can. And that is really nice. Thank you so much.
well,
for
thank
that.
you. And we really do that because we work with a lot of vulnerable people.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
never just one thing that
Right.
brings somebody through our doors.
Yeah.
People have competing issues that they don't sometimes even know where to begin. And we
Right.
try to be that voice of reason. We try to take them by the hand and really help them. But one thing is we will always be truthful. We don't sugarcoat anything. The last thing somebody needs is misinformation when they are falling behind in their mortgage.
Yeah.
It's a terribly stressful thing to be going through, and we always are very transparent about what we can and what we cannot do. But we will always try to help.
And a quick question. I'm sure that you help them look at, are they receiving their exemption?
Yes.
Homeowners exemption.
Yep,
their
if they're
same
eligible
thing.
for those.
Okay, and let's say that they, you know, you may say their insurance looks high for a single family in the area that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you will say, maybe take a quote or two, you know,
Yeah.
from somebody else. Let's shop around.
Right.
That's what you guys will help them. I have you know, there's places, there's organizations that will help them look at it, but they won't apply for that homeowner's exemption
Uh-huh.
with that person because that's not something that you guys normally do.
Right.
You would help them appeal their taxes or show them how to do that.
Right.
But you don't do the homeowner's exemption. But there's some folks that they don't know how to access a computer.
right.
Or they can't really
Well, and it's the
call.
seniors who are usually
Yeah,
eligible for
right,
those exemptions,
right.
and that tech divide is exactly what you're talking about. And we have a client who we're working with recently, and who, you know, we really educated her about. She was eligible for a senior exemption, a disability exemption,
Wow.
and she has since applied. She actually went to the county assessor's office and applied there, and we're waiting on her approval. It's pending. And but to your point, you're right. I mean, everything's become so technical. Everything's kind of become virtual. And while the world is really waking up from COVID, there's still a lot that is very tech dependent. So we are certainly here to help, not only to educate people on what they may be eligible for, but also to help facilitate the access to it.
I just want to say for those of you who are watching who actually go downtown, whether or not you're in Chicago or wherever county you're looking at this from, you can always go to if you're having issues with your taxes, it's literally a one sheet of paper. You walk into your tax office, you take your bill, your tax bill, you fill out your PIN number,
Oh, yep. That
and you
number.
put your name and number on there, and it literally takes 2 minutes. So if you're having issues, what I want to say is a lot of people do not appeal their taxes, and they find out it's jumped 20% over the years, 20%. So it's literally a one shop. You walk in, name and number, PIN number, and there's a code number on that tax bill. You put it in, and you appeal your taxes. Now, for some of you who can do this, I like to give this information because people don't know. You look at on the second half of your taxes, at the bottom of it, and you'll see your exemption. If you don't know if you're getting it, second half tax bill, well, at least in Cook County.
Yeah.
In Cook County. Bottom right, you will see exemption.
Right.
That'll be the number. If you do not have that number, you need to go into your tax, and you can actually file for 3 years.
Yep.
All right, and go back and get that money back that
Exactly.
you will pay. So if you're watching this and you don't know if you have actually filed, it's a great place to start on your last tax bill.
Yeah,
It'll tell
that's great information. And the lady that I referenced, the elderly woman we're helping, she had the exemptions, and for some reason they didn't transfer to the new year, remember?
When the tax rate increased.
Right, so we weren't sure what happened, and she didn't realize it, she didn't get it the year before either, so,
Wow.
and this money will hopefully eventually be paid right back to her escrow account and be dispersed as it should be, so, yeah, but great information.
Yeah, it'll be paid to her. They'll send her a check
That it'll go back to the
Like
escrow
escrow?
account for her,
for her. Okay.
for her.
All right. Well, that's great information because people don't know. And I'm just going to echo what Gabby was saying. Every 2 to 3 years, you want to look at your insurance.
Right.
Insurance
Mhm.
goes up.
Yeah.
Shop it every 2 to 3 years. Don't. And I know people who have the same insurance for 10 years. Like, oh, I'm with X.
Right,
You
right.
know, I got my insurance in 1990. Really?
Right. Well, and
It
that's,
never changed for
I
me.
never changed, and because they love the company, but they spend a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, it's 2-3 years. What do you got for me? You
well,
know?
and that's a good point. Whenever you're talking about finances and your paperwork, your insurance, your will, all of that, you have different ages and stages of your life. What you needed when you were a 32-year-old young mom with 3 little ones is different than when you're a 55-year-old empty nester. And it's important to take those financial assessments because ages and stages, your financial needs, your financial coverage, everything changes.
Everything changes.
And it's very important that you keep all that up to date. And you're right about insurance. Ask family and friends, who do you use? Have you had a positive experience? Have you ever filed a claim? What was your experience? Make sure you do your homework. We always say check into at least 3 different resources and really get to the bottom of it because I myself recently changed. My husband and I moved, we downsized our home. We were people who had the same insurance company and they gave us a quote for our new house. We went to somebody else and it was significantly different and we asked people who had them, we asked, did you file a claim? What was your experience? And we switched. So it's a good thing to do. Keep it fresh.
And I think that the Journey Forward does some of that post-closing.
Oh, yes, we have a
information.
post-purchase, yes.
Post-purchase, yes. And
Yeah.
because I also think that's something that I didn't know when I first purchased my house. I thought, well, the bank is in charge of paying for the taxes and the insurance. I don't have to worry about it. But as homeowners, it's also your responsibility to check that the taxes are actually being paid.
Yep.
Because the people paying those taxes, the loan servicing department can make a mistake.
Exactly.
I've seen that happen with one
yeah.
of my customers. He thought, well, I escrow. They pay for the taxes and the insurance. It turned out that the bank that he had his mortgage with was paying a different PIN number.
Oh boy.
And he had no idea that
Yeah.
they were not paid. Can you imagine if you
No.
look at that stuff?
I would have a heart attack.
So that's something that as homeowners we should make sure that
100%.
check
No
that.
matter what, we are in charge of our finances. We talked last week about the importance of a credit report. That document is all about us. And it is our responsibility to look at it at minimum twice a year to make sure it's accurate.
Right.
Make sure that you recognize everything that's being reported. Make sure your name is spelled correctly. It's the correct social security number, birth date. Because if it's one number off, guess what? That's somebody else's
Somebody
number.
else's, yeah.
And their information may be pulled onto your credit report. And it's our responsibility, whether it's our mortgage information, our credit information. You know, our world has gotten increasingly virtual. We are very electronic and everything, which has added tremendous convenience, but it's also added vulnerability to these fraudsters, identity theft. You know, we did a workshop last night, and the attorney, who was our industry expert, talked quite a bit about wire fraud. You know, when you are closing on a home where, you know, people are getting something that looks very official that says, here's your number, this is the PIN, wire the number here. They think it's to expedite their real estate sale, and the money is wired to the wrong
To a
account.
different address.
And it's gone.
And it's gone
It happened- It
forever.
happened to me.
Oh, no.
No way.
Yes, but well, I mean,
It's very
it
common.
happened to me many years ago
Mm-hmm.
when it was kind of just starting to come in,
Mhm.
and you know, my client sent the money, and we just forwarded to the agent, and we said, "Here's your earnest money," and she's like, "Where's the money?" I'm like, "You got it." No, it was wire fraud. So my client sent it to me, and I just say, "Okay, let me forward it over." And so whenever you're wiring money, you gotta call. Don't do email.
Yeah.
Call and check.
Yeah.
Is this the account?
Yep.
Right.
And
Wow.
yeah, we
Good
lost
advice.
him.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
We lost him his money.
And that's where we all have to just be so savvy, protect our personal identifying information, our name, our address, our phone number, social security number, passport, all the obvious things. But you know what? Buy a shredder that shreds both ways, crisscross. Anything that comes to you that has your name and address, shred it. Don't take a chance. Be careful. I wouldn't mail anything from my mailbox outside my home. I take it directly to the post office. You just cannot be too careful. When you get a phone call and you don't recognize the number, do not answer it. You get a text, you don't recognize the number, do not answer
it.
it. Block it. You get an email with a link, do not click it. Facebook, you get a direct message, you think it looks familiar, don't click any links. These fraudsters are so clever, but we've all got to get hyper alert to this stuff and protect ourselves, because again, everything's gone virtual, electronic, and it's left us very vulnerable.
I wanted to come back to, and I know Gabby have a couple of things that you want to talk about. You know, I know we don't have, we don't have a lot of time, but you wanted to talk about.
Fresh starts.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into Fresh Start.
I'll talk about it quickly.
Quickly, yeah, we can come back to it, but
It's a checking account for somebody who maybe had a bad checking history,
Right?
and is looking now to come back to banking. It doesn't go through check systems, so you should be able to open up a checking account through Fresh Start. If you're looking to start building your credit, we would ask you to apply for a credit card. If you're not able to, if you're not approved for a credit card, then we will offer you a secured credit card. And this is for somebody who has a social security number or somebody that has an ITIN. The product is good for both.
Yeah.
so ITIN also.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and you know, this having a banking relationship is such a critical piece to financial health. You know, and Gabby with Devon Bank just went into this wonderful product that is for people who are unbanked, and believe it or not, there's nearly 400,000 people in Chicago proper alone who are unbanked. And when you are not banked, number one, you don't have access to these wonderful products that Gabby just talked about, a secured credit card to grow your credit profile, a bank account that not only is safe and efficient to manage your money, but it's a tremendous tool to get your finances in order, your bank statements, your savings accounts. And a banking relationship is a critical piece, as I said, in a foundation of financial health, to grow yourself financially. So if you are not banked, please get connected to Gabby. It's so important, because not only is it a tremendous tool, but if you aren't banked, you are paying a tremendous amount of money to manage your money using currency exchanges. You know, it leaves you very vulnerable to these predatory lenders, payday loans, title loans. And when you are banked, you have that relationship where you can access the goods and services that allow you to manage your money, grow your money, and to access credit products that just make you more attractive to lenders, creditors, and start to get that firm financial footing that really sets you up for so many things in life, whether it's to get a loan for a home, a car, a job, because jobs, they're
Yeah.
looking at your credit report, even a favorable cell phone contract, and a lower price on insurance products.
I wanted to ask you, I mean, you mentioned I-10. How are we on a mortgage? You guys doing it on a mortgage also? You want to explain how that works?
So an ITIN is someone who doesn't have a social security number and is using an individual tax identification number to report their taxes. So they're paying their taxes, right? And through using that ITIN, we're able to provide financing to purchase their home.
Is there a down payment on that?
There is
Okay.
a down payment requirement.
Well, of course you can't. Is it a portfolio program?
It is a portfolio program. And
Okay.
because it's a portfolio program, the Von Bank takes the risk, right? It's
Right.
a higher risk for the bank. So we keep that loan here. But there are certain grants, like Down Payment Plus.
Oh,
You're
okay.
able to use those
Oh, they
$10,000.
still do.
I
was just
said-
going to ask you that. Effectively,
Yeah.
you can't use any kind of federal program.
Well, that is from the
I mean,
federal
but,
home
well,
loan.
I think it was more thinking FHA. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do
FHA, no, right.
But you can
no.
use the DPP, the down payment plus,
Right, for the down payment assistance.
for the down payment assistance. Okay.
That's great.
But now is the interest rate a little bit higher?
It is normally higher. It's about 2 points higher than the ongoing interest rate.
So, for example, if it's 5 now, it's like 7.
It should be 7, right?
All right, cool.
Mhm.
I mean, I want to just make sure we are all clear now, because there's other people who, I mean, some people think that they cannot purchase.
Right, no, yeah, that's,
No, but how does that, and I mean, I just want you to explain, how does that work when it comes to the credit situation, since they don't have any credit? There's
okay.
no Social Security reporting.
hmm
How does that, what's the how does
So
that
they can open, again, a checking or savings account
Mhm.
with their ITIN. They can open a secure credit card with their ITIN. It's not credit
It's
score
not credit
driven.
score driven.
Mm-mm. We
Okay.
just, it's credit history driven, let's say. So I just want to make sure that we don't see any foreclosures, we don't see any collections. I mean, medical collections is pretty normal, right?
Right.
Like, normal. So, but other than that, no bankruptcies. As long as the credit history is fine.
However,
That's
though,
what
but with an I-10, is that reported in the credit report?
Yeah, sometimes their item
I've
could be.
seen the
can
I-10
have-
report.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they use it. I mean, I don't look at a lot of credit reports. Gabby does that, right? But sometimes when I look at pull credit for certain things, I don't see a lot of I-10s on it to say,
Yeah.
well, and now will you then use a credit report, but would you use like their rent or their phone?
Yeah, we can
Or-
use that. Yeah, we can use that also. So let's say that there's not enough trade lines, right?
Trade line,
we
right.
can still use. We would ask them for maybe bank statements that would show their payments on time for their phone bills or for rent, things like that. Yeah. So we
I
can.
see it's
do
what,
that.
10% down?
It's currently it's 20%.
Already.
I know.
That's steep.
It is. Thank you, because that sends a message, and I hope our CRA committee is looking at this. Because I'm sure that, here's a pre-purchase counselors.
Right, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
For anybody.
Exactly. So we are looking to, we have submitted a request to our senior loan committee to
Okay.
change that, and hopefully get it reduced to 10%. We should hopefully hear before the end of next month.
Okay.
And we also allow, so let's say somebody that is looking to purchase a 2-unit, they're able to use the rental income from that other
the unit,
unit
yeah.
to qualify too.
That's great.
And before, I don't know how much time we have
Go ahead,
left.
go
I
ahead,
want to
go
make
ahead.
sure that,
Go
okay.
ahead.
So I just want to make sure that I mentioned this part also for Anne Marie and Karen. Last time I wanted to refer somebody, and I had to email Anne Marie exactly what's the process of it. But make sure that later on, and whoever is watching now in the channel, Angie's gonna help us and put a link under that channel.
Oh, great.
So we can see, so if you're looking to refer yourself, you're looking to get more information, you can click on that link and it'll take you to one of the pre-purchase counselors
Yep.
or maybe to Anne-Marie, and she'll assign somebody to
Yep.
connect with you. And we can have the information for the Journey Forward also in there. And then you can have my information also. We haven't talked about my information.
Okay.
It's 773-423-2350, and that number again is 773-423-2350.
Yeah, absolutely. And this program, it will be on our website. So you always go to the millsreal.com or the Mills Social Talk podcast, where we get your podcast. And this will be on our website. Pretty soon. So is there? We have much time. Is there? Karen, you can say much.
No,
we have
I'm
a couple. We have like 2 minutes.
No.
Well,
I just
you
wanna-
news. I think you got 30 seconds.
I just want to reiterate our phone number, and that's 312-429-5945. And I do want to say, to reinforce that all of our services are free, and I think that that's something that we didn't touch
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
All of our services are free, whether it's helping you build your credit, or if you need, as Anne-Marie had said, we're a HUD certified housing counseling agency, so you can come to us for your pre-purchase education and counseling. And we do have a website, and it's thejourney-forward.org. There are links on that website as well in order to fill out a quick Google sheet to say, hey, I would like services in housing counseling, or I need to improve my credit.
Or
And someone-
foreclosure
or
prevention for the
foreclosure
Illinois
prevention
Homeowner Assistance
is
Fund grant.
We do offer workshops. And every other week we offer a foreclosure prevention workshop, which then we will follow up with you. And if you need assistance with the ILHAF grant, we can provide that, because this is something that right now you are required to get a housing counsel, a counseling appointment with a HUD certified housing counseling agency, and IDA has extended that through the end of this month.
Through
And
mid-June.
Through mid-June.
Through mid-June, we can
Oh,
take
wow.
We
appointments.
can take appointments, and that is very important, because right now there's no real end date on the program, but they are going really week by week and month by month in order to see how much funds are left. So don't procrastinate. Really do call us if you're at all in need of some foreclosure prevention assistance.
Yeah, you can go to the website, and we'll add a link to our website on there
Great.
also,
Thank
so
you.
that if you're at the Mills Social Talk, or if you're at the millsreal.com, we'll add a link so we can add their link so you can kind of go to their site. So is there anything we got a minute? Is there anything else you guys want? I think you've wrapped up. You're good.
We're good.
Thanks again for listening to the Mills Social Talk podcast. Listen, wherever you listen to podcasts, please share this information. Please let us know. We always say, let us know what you want to talk about or what you want to know, and we will bring that to you anytime. We'll bring you the best of anyone in the Chicagoland area. And this podcast goes nationwide, so call us and let us know. I mean, I'm sure you guys are Illinois. I'm sure there's someone out there that can help you if you're in Alaska somewhere.
Yeah, we'll
or
get you
in the lower
connected.
48. I'm saying the lower 48.
Well, and other states have the Homeowner Assistance Fund
Yeah.
grant. So if you're in Michigan, if you're in Wisconsin, if
Yeah.
you're in Texas,
Yeah.
look up the foreclosure prevention grant and see if your state has it.
All right, guys. Thanks again. The Mills Social Talk.
I know.
Go to millsreal.com. Until the next podcast. See you soon.